Hi, welcome to week 7 of Road to Japan Ironman. So this week is going to be a bit of a look back on my journey to get to this stage in life. So a bit of a diary of a wimpy kid. So yeah, now 62, so I grew up in the 60s, 70s, typical childhood, good childhood, but I was definitely a bit of a skinny rat, wimpy kid, wasn't ever great at any type of sport. I used to enjoy trying things in school. The only time I was ever in a school team was for the hockey, which one of the teachers introduced, and I think that was more because it was new sport. There wasn't a great uptake, so I ended up drafted in as left back. Luckily, not left back in the changing room as normal. So grew up, childhood in normal school and outdoor activities, a lot of camping during as a kid. So I used to love being outdoors. I was also in the Sea Cadets because I wanted to go to sea. That was my ambition growing up as a kid. So when I left school, I actually joined the Merchant Navy with BP Shipping and spent 4 years there. So no real sport activity apart from getting pissed up occasionally and having a game of cricket on a couple of the ships, the super tankers. Left school. Left work. BP Shipping, got married and got a job in Ford's, the local factory in Halewood. And the only sport type of thing I ended up doing there was I started to cycle to work, commuting, just for ease and a little bit of exercise. I've always enjoyed cycling. So over the years, ended up with a road bike after being knocked off. The initial one was a lovely rally hand-built M-Trax, which I'd got from compensation claim. So round about 40, I ended up getting quite fit and getting into the road cycling quite a bit. Nothing extreme or super duper. I did the Liverpool Chester bike ride a few years running, and the big achievement of that time, which was most probably when I was at my peak fitness, was the Manchester 100 miler, which I thought was really pushing it to the extreme. Made up with the time there. I actually found the route map and I'd recorded the times. So according to what I wrote down, it was 5 hours 47, I think. Details up here somewhere. So I'd love to be able to get back to that pace. Maybe with a bit more effort, get a bit of power in. So that sort of declined a bit with pressures of work and family life. Ended up getting a few promotions, doing a degree through work, which put paid to a lot of activities. And sort of the commute cycling started to take a back seat with pressures of work, having to get in for meetings and going down to the West Midlands. So over the next, say, 10 years, from 45 to 55, I just started to increase weight a bit. So I ended up, so round about when I was about 58, just before I retired, or just before lockdown actually. So that was 2019. I ended up around about £200, which was really fat for myself. Felt rubbish. So definitely noticed it on a trip to Korea with work. Yeah, just the whole trip, even though I loved it, I was feeling fat and bloated. Um, didn't get on with the heat that great. So I'd already seen a documentary called The Magic Pill on Netflix at the time about the keto diet, which sort of intrigued me. So got back home, bit more research, and then the January of 2020, I decided to jump in on keto, and I found it really suited me. The weight started to drop off me, and within 6 months, I dropped 40 to 50 pounds. A graph out of there, and I found it really easy, and that was without any real exercising. So during lockdown, I used to go to the marine lake locally of a morning to do some paddleboarding, and I ended up doing some swimming after seeing a few people swimming in the lake, even though I thought they were bloody mad. That's where I met Graham and a couple of other friends and got into what we call the Reluctant Runners, which is a local group who swim in different things. So that's sort of where my life turned around. So for the next year, just did a few paddleboarding trips, adventures, little bike rides here and there on what was then a front suspension hybrid, as I thought my road bike days had gone. Yeah, so it sort of all started to turn around then. So that's I say, lockdown for me personally was my main change in life. So yeah, come 2023, around the October time, I heard about a bike ride that was getting in the planning stage, which was going to be the NC 500, and it sort of intrigued me. And I thought, I'll throw my hand in and try and get fit enough to do it. So it was going to be in the May 2024. So yeah, it started to rock up to some of the training rides. Felt totally out of my depth, as all the other people were mainly on good road bikes. I was there turning up on quite a heavy front suspension hybrid. But I managed to keep going fitness wise, and then I invested into a second hand, more of a, I'd say it's sort of a hybrid gravel bike, flatboard, again, because I thought my road biking days had gone. Because before I went keto, I was suffering from back spasms, plantar issues, and all different things, which seemed to resolve itself once I changed my diet and got a bit healthier, a bit fitter, and I started enjoying things. So managed to complete the NC 500, which was the hardest thing I'd ever done. 5.5 days around Scotland, some serious climbing, but really enjoyable trip. Unfortunately, one side effect of that trip was the earworm I picked up cycling along talking to the likes of MPH, Martin Pritchard Howard, John Fairhurst, and various other people on that trip about their exploits doing Ironman and other ultra type events. So they'd actually said that there was a trip planned the following year to do with some people for their first Ironman in Tallinn. Yeah, so I naively said, "Oh, I'd love to do a triathlon," and quietly got persuaded. So it's the earwig certainly got into me brain.
You see, they're young, enter through the ears, and wrap themselves around the cerebral cortex. This has the effect of rendering the victim extremely susceptible to suggestion.
So got back, also decided to have an attempt at the Russman, which is sort of loosely based on an Ironman. Bit more community. So I had to start upping me running a lot. I'd done a little bit of running, never any great shakes. So I've done CESA 5K a couple of times. But that, after getting back from NC 500, started to get into running a bit and managed to complete the Russman, and surprisingly felt really good on it, even though it was a long old day, 3 o'clock till most probably 10:30 at night, or 3 in the morning, not afternoon. So long old day, and I thoroughly enjoyed the day. So that convinced me to put my hand in to try and tackle Ironman Tallinn. So that sort of got me into this. In that period, I think 2022, I took early retirement from work. So decided I wanted to do sort of an event or a trip every year as part of my retirement. So I've the last few years, I've done a couple of really good things. Like I said, the NC 500, one of the hardest things I've ever done, but so worthwhile. And if you can get in with a good group of people, all the better. Also, I did the SUP Norway, so paddleboarding around fjords in Norway, which was magical, really good experience. Not as anywhere near as hard as the Ironman and Russman, etc., but really, really good holiday. So that's my goal now, is to do some different events each year. So it's a bit of a bucket list, and that has led me on to doing the Japan trip. So I've always fancied visiting Japan after reading James Cavell's Taipan and some of the historical things about samurai, the Japanese culture, and getting into some of the manga films. Yeah, it's just something that sort of fascinated me. I'm doing the 2 trips with work to Seoul. I really fancy going back and spending a bit more time in Korea. So that's why this trip is morphed into the Seoul to Busan trip. So yeah, that's how I've ended here. So like I said, jumping onto keto, carnivore, etc., really turned my life around. And now it's a case of sort of not pushing myself, but enjoying things I'm doing. I loved the Talent Ironman when I did that last year. The whole event, being away with people, was great. Um, and yeah, just crossing that finishing line, such an accomplishment for myself. Because up till last year, I'd never done any type of triathlon. Um, Only when I started doing the training, I did a couple of local ones myself, and then May last year I did the Southport triathlon as a thing which was nerve wracking in itself. Getting used to sort of the competition rules, knowing what to do, yeah, but really enjoyable. So that's why I'm sticking with it. But if I'm going to do an Ironman event, um, I want to make it sort of memorable, which is why I've picked Japan this time. And if I do another one, it'll be somewhere else in the world. So make a basic trip around it. Like I said, the cross career bike path looks really good, um, and should be able to see a bit of the real career outside the mega city Seoul, which in itself is a brilliant place. So we seem to have got a real nice crew together to do that, 6 of us. So yeah, that's where I am. So diet is so important, and just enjoying yourself and just trusting yourself. You'd be amazed what you can do in yourself, especially if you're enjoying it. You've got to get the why for yourself, what you want to do. And like I said, for myself, I want to be able to enjoy myself into my later years. So just turned 62 now. So yeah, I want to get some really good adventures ticked off in the next 20 years. So keep going, keep fit, and live strong. Right, I'm going to sign off so it's not too boring. I've recut this a few times because I waffled on. So I'll see you next time.